I'm Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter, and welcome to episode 749 of No BS Job Search Advice Radio. You know, this is a show where I talk about final interviews, and as I point out early on, I've created a lot of videos about first interviews, but second interviews, thirds, finals, a lot fewer because there's just, less to really cover there. But I go into some good material here that I hope you'll find helpful. And I also want to encourage you, before you listen to the show, pause it and send me an email and take advantage of my discount on coaching, where if you sign up during the month of May and make payment during May, you get a $99 half-hour session with me that I normally charge $250 for. So if you're struggling with your search, if you're just not getting the results that you want, no matter what level of position that you're at, send me an email at jeffaltman@thebiggamehunter.us. In the subject line, put the word coaching, and we'll circle back to you, send you a link to make payment, and get you on my calendar to speak as soon as possible. Now, a lot of people have already signed up, and I know next week I'm going to be away for a couple of days at a conference, but I will try and make time to do sessions while I'm at the conference. So, again, send me an email at jeffaltman@thebiggamehunter.us, and in the subject line, put the word coaching. Now let's get going. I've done lots of videos about first and second round interviews. I want to do a video about final interviews. Now, final interviews in many respects are very easy. And there's a certain amount of pressure because you know you're competing with someone else. Despite being told you're meeting the director, you're meeting the SVP, this is a formality. This is not a formality, because I can't tell you the number of times people have said stupid things on interviews at the final interview and cost themselves opportunities. So the first thing I want to remind you of is this is not a formality. This is a real interview where you can screw things up and you need to win it. So the two basic things I encourage people to do is, number one, relax, be a leader in the meeting. Be self-confident. It's all about attitude, because my philosophy is one of the things that firms are looking for is someone who can inspire confidence that they're a solution. And that's really about how you carry yourself and how you present yourself and your ideas. So that's your presence. So that's tip number one. Actually, it's three tips as I think about it. Tip number two is tell your story so that they're congruent with what you've said the first two times you've been there. That should go without saying, but again, it has to be said. And the final thing, more than anything, is having some good questions to ask. Now, you're meeting someone a level up from your boss. And think of it this way. They don't want to ever hear your name except if it's review time. Because if they hear your name other than that, normally it's because you screwed up and there's a problem. So your job is to do nothing that's going to screw up, and if anything, inspire. And a lot of that comes with intelligent questions. So one question to ask when he or she says, "So do you have any questions for me?" What will you expect me to do over the first 90 days when I get on board? What problems will I need to address? What can I take off of everyone's plate that's going to allow me to hit the ground running? And normally they'll talk with you about what their expectations are as you join. It's really a time where you want to hear them talk about getting settled into the environment and getting acclimated to working with the people there and a couple of basic tasks. Now, here's the big one. I mentioned this in previous videos, but this is the perfect time to again ask it. So it's review time. It's a year from now, 6 months from now, whenever it is the organization said that they're going to be doing reviews. And I haven't just done a good job. I've done a spectacular job. As a matter of fact, the job I've done is amongst the best that you've ever seen. What would I have accomplished during that year that would cause you to write such a review? Now, this does a couple of things. Number one is it gives you an idea as to whether or not they're going to be realistic with you. Because these are going to be performance measures that they're going to use to assess you and whether you're extraordinary or just average. The second thing it does is gets them thinking that you're thinking about being extraordinary, which is a subtle thing in terms of competing with other individuals who basically will say things like, no, tell me about the job. I want to know about the job. And you've already heard it at least once or twice before. They're not going to say anything different. So if anything, that's too boring a question. But talking about what you might have accomplished during the first year you're on board that would cause them to write a review that you're the best person they've ever seen in this role or amongst the best goes a long way toward helping you stand out. Again, attitude, preparation, great questions. That's how you win a final interview. So that's today's show. I hope you found it helpful. And if you did, here are a few ways that you can connect with me. The first one, of course, is reach out to me on LinkedIn. My page there is linkedin.com/IN/The Big Game Hunter. Mention that you listen to the show because I love to hear from my listeners. It just puts a big smile on my face. Next, if you're an executive and interested in my coaching you, email me at jeffaltman@thebiggamehunter.us. Mention in the subject line that you're interested in coaching. I'll reach back to you. We'll set up a time to speak. We'll figure out whether this makes sense. I want to be clear. I'm not here to be your recruiter. I no longer do search work. I'm a coach helping people find their next position. And as such, my work is not free. I'm not doing this as a charitable endeavor. I'm here to see whether I can help you and whether your background is something where I can be of service. And if you're not an executive, the best place to connect with me is with JobSearchCoachingHQ.com. That's my site where I've curated information that I've created and other people have created. It's there with their permission, of course. And you can ask me questions. So right now there's over 400 pieces of content there, plus the ability to ask me questions. So again, JobSearchCoachingHQ.com is that site. And by the way, and I haven't really mentioned this on the site, in addition to doing job search coaching, I also do executive coaching and life coaching. And I've done so for years. So if you're interested in that, message me again at my email address, jeffaltman@thebiggamehunter.us. Tell me about what you're interested in, and I'll get back to you and we'll talk about it. Hope you found this helpful, and in the meantime, have a great day. Take care.